Hey guys, so I was asked how I managed to take a shoe off so easily, so I said I would put a video together and do a demo. So whether you are a horse owner or a practicing vet who's struggling, I've put a little video together to explain it because M requested it. So let's start off with the tools and I'll quickly explain that to you. So what I've done is I've laid out all the tools that I would use to remove a shoe. And let's start with these tools here because I believe these are the most important. So you've got nail pullers, shoe pullers, which are probably the most important tool, a hammer and a clench cutter or buffer. Now, a pair of chaps is optional, but it's very much improves comfort. A hoof stand with a cradle is what I use each day, and that really takes a strain out of holding the foot up. And a pair of old hoof nippers. Now, these I actually will show you on one of the videos or one of the clips that I've got why they are a really good tool. But let's go through these. I mean, the shoe pullers are an obvious choice, and to actually be able to take a shoe off, these are a really useful. In fact, the only tool, let's say. Nail pullers, if a horse is struggling or in pain, you can remove the shoe nail by nail, which I can show you. The hammer and the buffer is important to lift the clenches because that's going to make removing the shoe a whole lot easier. And a pair of chaps because, let's face it, a horse's leg between yours is a lot more comfortable with some protection. So let's go through these clips and I'm going to talk you through them, and hopefully you can save this video and it will help. So we're going to start off by the most common way of taking a shoe off, and that is by using a buffer and a nylon hammer to lift up the clenches. So the clenches are the tops of the nail that's bent over, and it's like a fish hook on the outside of the hoof wall. So it is so important you get these lifted up because this holds the shoe on really well, and it's going to make it so much more difficult to get the shoe off if you don't do that. But once you've removed that hook, I start off at the heel by levering forward, and what that does is that pushes the shoe up, so I can then actually remove nearly all of the nails with the shoe pullers. And then once you get to the last bit, actually levering the shoe forwards and backwards, it actually comes off quite easily. Now, if the horse is in pain or you are struggling, you can bring the hoof forward. Now, I know I said earlier that the hoof stand was optional. I would use the hoof stand here. You would really struggle to do that on your knee if you didn't train to do, like if you weren't a farrier. I know some farriers in the past I know haven't used a stand. So that is another way to lift the clenches up. If the horse is really in pain and it's sensitive to the hammering, you can use a rasp. So I'm sorry I didn't add that to the list of tools at the beginning, but if you speak to your farrier, he will give you an old hoof rasp. I'm sure he will. I mean, the scrap to us. And this would be a really useful tool to actually rasp the clenches off the top of the nails where they hook over the outside of the shoe. It's just really fundamental to do this because it's going to make the process of removing the shoe a whole lot easier. Now, again, I've done that. Rock the heel forward gently with the pullers, and once you've rocked that forward, it lifts it enough to pull the nails out, or even, in this case, just keep rocking it, going from the heel to the toe, and that does.
That helps with a broken leg.
Yeah, what was it? It's fractured his leg.
Yeah, it's got a fracture in its radius.
Fracture in his radius, right. So this is going to be an interesting shoe removal. So this came on my desk today, which is great, and this is a good example of when you may need to remove a shoe if you are a veterinary surgeon. So this horse has a fractured radius, or broken fractured radius. And this horse has had shoes on for quite a while. Now, it is in a position where it's starting to heal, and we are in a position where we can start taking the shoes off. But again, I wanted to minimise the vibrations, so instead of using my clenchers to, the buffer to knock the clenches up, I used my nail pullers, and I pulled the nail out nail by nail. But I was very fortunate that I had my hoof stand to rest the hoof on, because that would have been really tough if I didn't have that to try and hold this leg up. Although it wouldn't be undoable, if that's a word, I definitely would have struggled. So I did mention before about having the old cutters, and here is a scenario where those old hoof nippers or old cutters are really handy. I'm actually able to pull the nails out with that a lot easier because there's more leverage than there is with the nail pullers. And then once we've got the nails out, again, it's just a case of rocking that shoe forwards and using the leverage of the shoe against the hoof to actually lift it off. And because I managed to pull out all the nails bar two, I was able to do this with one hand. But still, it's that's that. So that is my demo on how to remove a shoe. Please, if you have any questions, leave a comment and I will try and get back to them. Or if you have something that I feel I can talk about in a comment, I will make another video explaining in more detail. But I hope that helps. And like I said before, if that's useful, you can save it. But I hope it helps you removing shoes in the future. And please tag me in your shoe removals videos. I want to see that my good work has been put to use.